that goes.
Okay.
Okay. And the only other things you've really got is just your pump and your filter here. They're the two things that you basically need to check every 2 months just to get them cleaned up.
So where do you clean the filter?
Yeah, so with the filter side of things,
yeah.
obviously you can get this salt through, but basically I'll turn it on. I'm just going to turn it off, mate. So when you turn it off and cleaning the filter out, always turn it off. Always turn it off the main power.
Right.
Now this thing's got a memory in it, so it doesn't lose any of its settings.
Right, okay.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. That way it can't come on until you're ready for it to come on.
Right.
Then you just undo the little air release cap on top of the filter here.
Yeah.
Just releases all the pressure and water out of it. Then over on my side here, we've got a button you just push in, just to allow you to move this ring. There's the two teeth on the ring there.
Right, yeah.
So you just push that in and that just spins around like so. It's a little bit firm to start with because it's prying the lid off the top of the tank.
Yeah.
So you just spin that around like so until you're able to get the lid off. And that's your filter inside there. And normally you pull that out. At the moment it's all surrounded by salt in the bottom at the moment, so I won't pull it out.
No.
But you normally just pull that out, give it a good go with the garden hose, and that basically is all you need to do to clean.
How often do you do that?
About every 2 months.
2 months, okay.
Alright, now there's no top and bottom with it, so I can go back in either way when you're done.
Yeah.
It just fits into a socket the same as what we've got here.
Right, okay.
In the bottom. So you just push it into the socket in the bottom, lid back on, just make sure that thread's sort of seated properly, and you just spin the whole thing around. Once the lid gets to a certain point, you just make sure your pressure gauge is pointing that way, which will also get your water pointing away from your wall and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you spin the whole thing around until those two teeth on the ring end up by the side of that button again. Alright, so as we get there, it starts to get pretty firm, and then it just clicks in like so.
Okay.
And that's as tight as that needs to be. Alright. Air release back on top. And then when we start everything back up again, we'll fill the thing back up with water. Water will come out the top once it's full. Then we can tighten that up tight. So air bleed basically, just bleeding the air out of it.
Right.
Alright. And then your pump's pretty easy. The pump's just a matter of, if it's full of rubbish, you can see whether it's got debris or anything in there. It's just a quarter turn type thing. Take that off. Get the basket out, get any rubbish out of that. Right, large hole just lines up with where the water's coming back into the pump itself. So you line up like so. There's a keyway at the other side just to get everything lined up for you.
Yeah.
And then back on with the handles. They should end up like that. Okay, so some people put it back on and they end up sort of putting it on and trying to close it up like that. Won't tighten. So it's got to be about sort of 3 and 9 on a clock face.
Okay.
Where it ends up. Once we've done that, we can turn everything back on again. Bleed the air out of it, and you're done. Alright, so that'll all come back on now. Soft start pump. So it takes a little bit for the pump to get going. It's all about conserving power.
Yeah.
Alright. That looks after that side of it for you. Bleed the air out of it once, like I said, once the water comes out of there. Alright, there you go then. Now the other thing you've got is just your speeds on the back of the pump here.
Right.
Alright, orange is boost, which is flat out basically.
Yeah.
So you got low, medium, high. So green's your low.
Yeah.
Alright, if you weren't running an automatic cleaner, you would run on the green.
Right.
But because you're going to have an automatic cleaner in there, we'll run on clean just to give it enough suction. Alright, so by pressing those buttons, they light up sort of, they illuminate above what setting you've got them on, which tells you what they're set on. Okay, so whenever you first turn the pump on, say for example after cleaning the filter, it'll run for the first minute on flat out, and then it'll drop down to whatever you've got it set on.
Okay.
Okay, so
so what's on now?
Well, it's on boost now.
Oh, okay, right.
Which is flat out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your revs there, so it's 2,850 revs. So then it'll drop down to 21,000 revs on clean. So and so on and so on. So and that just conserves power again. So. But we'll let it run on clean when we go today, and that's pretty much where it'll stay with the automatic cleaner in there. Alright, so we'll give it a bit of vacuum today with the manual one anyway. So the fact those bubbles are coming out, in a lot of cases when they're further, sometimes the filter's further away, it doesn't do that, but the closer they are, the better flow they got. And it just makes it easy to remember. All you do is move the middle one, and that's it.
Right.
So I mean, I can leave them like that, but later on and doing the truck, if you find you don't like that look, that's how you start them off anyway. And that basically looks after those for spar. Just make sure the right hand valve's open. Close off the middle valve. Okay, that gets your spar, and you can run that all day like that.
Right.
Okay, when you finish, just open that up again because it does run at a higher pressure when the spar's on. So just open that back up again like so, and you can pretty much run that as is in a normal situation every day.
So, okay.
All right, and then if you want to do your waste, just open that up as well.
Right.
Don't have to touch these two. You can open that up, and that'll pump water out of the pool for you as well.
Oh, right, okay.
And back up vertical when you're finished. And
So if we go on holidays, we don't have to empty it. We can still...
no, you don't have to do it. No, it just stays. You're only emptying excess water out of it.
Right, okay.
You don't even have to do
Yeah.
Most of the time I just say to people, probably try and keep it off your coping if you can. This stuff's pretty durable, this stone you've got.
Right.
Sandstone's a bit of a pain in the ass because it's more of a porous stone.
Yeah.
This stuff's pretty hardy sort of stone. It's not